Did the Eden serpent have legs? The shocking truth the church refuses to share, in the dim light of a boring Sunday school class, a story whispered from the depths of the Bible raised the hair on the backs of people's necks. A creature, smooth and slithering, filled with an ancient power was this serpent, they wondered, once gifted with legs. Was there a time when it roamed the Garden of Eden, hunting like a predator? This wasn't just idle talk, it was the stuff of legends. The air crackled with intrigue as kids leaned in, hearts pounding, eager to uncover the unbelievable truth that lingered in the shadows of their faith. Not many knew that some scholars believed biblical translations had hidden messages. These words, twisting through time, painted a completely different picture of creation than what churches preached. Could the Eden serpent have actually stood on two legs, its body coiling like a dancer's? With every retelling, the possibility deepened. The images flooded minds. What if this creature had possessed strength, speed, and an evil cunning? The mere thought stung like a bee on a summer day, leaving whispers of doubt trailing in its wake. As the story spread like wildfire, strange things began to occur. People reported seeing flickering shadows at night, resembling snakes shifting in their periphery. An odd resonance echoed through the depths of their consciousness, drawing them closer to the mystery of the serpent. Suddenly, secrets of the past held present consequences. Each encounter was compelling, the air thick with both terror and anticipation. What did the eyes of this serpent see? What truth lay trapped within the flickering shadows? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The night grew darker, and whispers wound through the town. Rumors of a hidden scroll just recently unearthed set hearts racing. Could it offer proof of the serpent's legs? The promise of discovery flowed through the shadows, pulling at the threads of curiosity. As the zip of excitement hummed, one thought lingered: what if the truth was more horrifying than they could ever imagine? The mystery loomed over them, heavy as a storm cloud, waiting to unleash its secrets. What would they find when the veil lifted, and a long-buried past collided with their present? The chatter of excitement rose in the small town like a brewing storm, each day bringing more rumors of the unearthing, more whispers about the scroll that lay hidden beneath their very feet. At the heart of it all was Emma, a high schooler with dreams of becoming a journalist. She had been captivated by the serpent story before it spiraled into madness. Night after night, she followed her instincts, piecing together fragments, leading her straight into the town library's depths. On this night, the library stood enveloped in shadows. Dust danced in the beams of moonlight sneaking through the window panes. Emma felt a tight knot in her stomach as she slid between the shelves, the musty scent of old pages mingling with something darker, a whisper of fear skimming over her skin. Her fingers grazed the spines of ancient texts. She had to find answers. There it was, an obscure volume covered in thick dust, Legends of the Lost. Heart racing, she pulled it from the shelf and opened it. What she discovered made her breath hitch. The images were vivid and almost shocking. Depictions of serpents with limbs, entwined in mythical battles, adorned the pages right there, stark illustrations suggesting a truth well beyond anything she'd expected. But as she read, a chill crept over her. Stories of curses, warnings of what happens when the past is disturbed. Each line felt alive and dangerous. Emma could almost hear the siren call of the serpent, luring her into a world where legends became real life. Emma. A voice pulled her back from the brink. It was Lucas, a fellow student armed with a flashlight, brows furrowed in worry. What are you doing here so late? Looking for something important, she replied breathlessly, her heart pounding. There is something about the Eden serpent in here. We have to find the scroll. Lucas's expression shifted. The scroll? The one they talk about at church? It's just a rumor, right? No. There's more to this. What if it's true? What if it reveals everything? Before Lucas could respond, the lights above them flickered ominously. The air thickened, crackling with unease. Shadows seemed to stretch and curl at the corners of the room, and Emma felt a surge of panic. Did you see that? See what? You're freaking me out, Lucas stammered, but even as he spoke, the shadows began to undulate. It was as if the very essence of the serpent was alive, lurking within the library walls. Suddenly, the ground shook, vibrations emanating from deep below. Emma glanced at the floor, squinting into an abyss of darkness and uncertainty. They needed to leave, but a part of her felt rooted in place, drawn by an invisible thread. Let us go, she urged, heart pounding. But just as they turned to flee, a loud crack split the silence. The bookshelf behind them began to tremble, teetering ominously. Emma, move! Lucas shouted, grabbing her hand, but the shelf fell, and in a cloud of ancient dust and pages, it revealed a hidden compartment underneath, an object glistening underneath the dim light. A corner of a scroll peeked out, just out of reach. As whispers turned into echoing howls through the library, Emma felt the weight of destiny upon her. We can't leave it, she screamed, lunging for the scroll that might link them to the serpent's true nature. As her fingers brushed the surface of the parchment, a pulse of energy shot through her body. The shadows twisted up around them, a dark wind swirling ominously like the serpent itself. What had they awakened? What secrets of the garden lay buried within that ancient scroll? And as darkness encircled them, a single thought pounded in her mind: they had merely scratched the surface of the truth, and something far worse than they could ever imagine was about to unfold. The scroll pulsed beneath Emma's fingertips, vibrant and hot, as if alive and yearning to be freed. The shadows lashed out around them, darker than midnight, coiling like chains that wanted to pull them deeper into the abyss. What is happening? Lucas gasped, terror stitching his voice. His grip on Emma's wrist tightened. She could feel his heart racing along with her own. I don't know. But we can't stop now. Emma's pulse thrummed in her ears, propelling her forward against the mounting dread. She lunged again, grasping the edges of the scroll, and pulled with all her strength. A blinding flash erupted in the small space, a white-hot light that momentarily banished the darkness, illuminating everything in stark relief: dusty titles, cobwebbed corners, and the worried expression on Lucas's face. In that instant, Emma saw it: the serpent curled around the scroll, its form outlined by the brilliance. It looked spectral, a vivid embodiment of folklore, its eyes glimmering with ancient knowledge. I can't see it, Lucas shouted, eyes wide, straining against the brightness. But the moment hung, stretching like a thread ready to snap. The scroll slid free, fluttering to the ground like a fallen leaf. Emma landed back, and as she did, the light flickered and faded, plunging them back into the oppressive gloom. Did you see it? The serpent, it was right there. Emma couldn't hold back her excitement, mingled with fright. Emma, we need to get out, Lucas insisted, looking over his shoulder as the shadows seemed to grow thicker, almost palpable. Ignoring his plea, Emma knelt and unfurled the scroll, her hands trembling. As she opened it, lines of delicate script unfurled like whispers of the past. They were written in an ancient language, but the illustrations spoke clearly: transformations, rituals, and a serpent entwined with fables of humanity's darkest secrets. Look, she said, pointing to a section detailing a ritual of the Eden serpent, one that suggested it had once walked on legs, claiming dominion over earth and sky. This isn't just a myth. The magnitude of her discovery surged through her. The library trembled again, and Emma's spirit somewhat faltered. The air crackled like the charged atmosphere before a storm. I can't believe what I'm reading. This changes everything. Suddenly, a chilling voice echoed from the shadows, a voice that whispered promises wrapped in threat. You should not have disturbed the past. Emma and Lucas spun around, eyes wide. They could barely see, but they could feel it: something dark was awakening. What do we do? Lucas quaked, his voice barely more than a rasp. We need to leave. Now. Torn between exhilaration and horror, Emma looked at the scroll again. No. I need to know more. This could prove everything. With a cry of frustration, Lucas grabbed her shoulder. This could destroy us. We can't play with things we don't understand. But as Emma fought against his grip, the shadows surged forward. They curled around her feet like living ivy, pulling her back. Let it go. We have to let go. Lucas yelled, frantically looking around as the darkness encroached. She felt a sharp pang of fear but also exhilaration. Then, as the shadows surged higher, Emma made a choice. She ripped the scroll quickly, just a fragment, and sent it flying at Lucas. Take this. Get help. He grasped the torn piece as the rest of the scroll writhed in her hands. No. The voice echoed again, louder and more furious. The ground shook more violently, shelves crashing to the ground, the chaos around them growing like a wild storm. I will not let this happen. Emma shouted back defiantly. Suddenly, the swirling darkness enveloped them, and with a deafening roar, the ground beneath them began to split open. A chasm opened wide, reaching for them, ready to pull them into oblivion. As Emma felt the earth tremble, she realized, this was just the beginning. The serpent's world was awakening, and they were caught in its snare. What awaited them on the other side of that chasm? Would they emerge as heroes or victims of the serpent's curse? Emma felt the ground shudder violently beneath her feet, the chasm widening like a gaping maw ready to swallow them whole. Instinct kicked in. She grabbed Lucas's wrist, yanking him towards her. We have to jump. Are you crazy? His eyes were wild, glancing at the abyss, then back at her. We can't just trust me. She shouted, fear and determination colliding inside her chest. The darkness was rising, almost tangible now, like a living thing ready to engulf them. With a swift nod, half disbelief, half bravery, Lucas took a deep breath, and they both leaped. The moment they left solid ground, time stretched. The air around them seemed to bend, a swirling mass of light and shadow. Emma's stomach dropped as they fell. Then, with a bone-jarring crash, they landed on something solid but unstable. They lay still for a moment, breathing heavily, heartbeats pounding like war drums. Emma's hands sunk into the gritty floor beneath them. Dust swirled into the air, settling like a fog. Where are we? Lucas gasped, pushing himself onto his elbows. Don't know, Emma murmured, fear creeping back into her mind as she surveyed their surroundings. The dim light barely illuminated what appeared to be an underground chamber, ancient and filled with remnants of a civilization long gone. Strange markings covered the walls, depicting the serpent in various stages. It writhed and coiled in vibrant colors, its drawn mouth filled with sharp teeth. This is incredible, Emma breathed, creeping closer to the wall, a sense of wonder overtaking her fear. Emma, focus. Lucas's voice pulled her back. We need to find a way out before whatever that was shows up. He was right. The air felt heavy, saturated with an urgency they couldn't ignore. As they scanned the chamber, the chill in the air deepened, making Emma shiver. Then Lucas spotted something, a flickering light in the far corner. Look! He beckoned, scrambling to his feet. Hope surged as they edged closer, but dread lingered at the back of Emma's mind. She moved fast, the images of the shadows still haunting her thoughts. They reached the light to find a strange altar, an ornate stone with runes so intricate they seemed to shift under the glow. What is this? Lucas asked, touching the surface cautiously. Emma's heart raced as she noticed an inscription etched into the stone. It looks like a continuation of the scroll. She leaned closer, tracing the letters with her fingers. It speaks of a balance, struggles between light and darkness, and a prophecy. What kind of prophecy? Lucas's voice was low, a tremble of anxiety threading through it. That too would come, chosen to bridge worlds, Emma read, her brow furrowing. And that one would bear the mark of the serpent, a scar that connects flesh to myth. Her eyes widened, recalling a small scar on her arm, one she'd always brushed off but now seemed significant. Lucas noticed her change in expression. "What is it?" "I think Before she could finish, the ground rumbled again, and the shadows coalesced, darker than before. The serpent's presence filled the chamber. "Fools!" The voice reverberated, cold and powerful. "You dare to tread where mortals should not walk." Emma felt the terror clawing at her throat. Glancing at Lucas, she saw the resolve in his eyes. They had to fight back. "I know the truth," Emma shouted, mustering every ounce of courage. "You can't control us." "Control?" The serpent's laughter echoed, chilling and dark. "You have yet to grasp the reality of your destiny." Then there was a flash of movement, and the serpent's form began to materialize from the shadows, coiling around the altar. Its eyes glowed as it spoke again. "Will you embrace the truth, or surrender to darkness?" Emma and Lucas exchanged a frantic look. If they could hold on to the scroll's fragment, they might just unravel the serpent's curse. But as the serpent's eyes bore into them, Emma realized one chilling truth: the risk was far greater than she could fathom. Would they stand their ground, or fall under the serpent's intoxicating power? As panic surged around them, they had to choose. Confront the darkness or become its latest victims. The air crackled, heavy with their decision, but time was running out. What would happen if the chasm they escaped transformed into an even greater void? The serpent's form twisted and writhed, a living shadow threatening to engulf everything. Emma's breath hitched as the cold gaze of the creature locked onto her. It was like being caught in a spotlight of dread, each heartbeat echoing louder than the last. "Choose wisely, children." Its voice dripped with malice, the words sliding through the air like poison. "You stand at the edge of worlds. Will you embrace your destiny, or run back into the comforting arms of your ignorance?" Emma's mind raced. Destiny. The word echoed ominously, wrapping itself around her thoughts like the serpent around the altar. "What do you want from us?" she shouted, trying to sound defiant despite the quiver in her voice. The darkness pulsed, shimmering as it slid away from the walls and seemed to breathe around them. "Your choices will decide the fate of your world. You are the keys to unlocking the gate," it said, its many eyes glistening with a terrifying intelligence. Lucas stepped closer, his own fear morphing into determination. "We won't be your pawns. Whatever you're planning, it won't work." The serpent laughed, a chilling sound that resonated in the room like thunder. "Ah, the naive courage of youth. You think you can defy fate? I am the essence of chaos. I whisper into dreams and shatter realities." Emma felt the hair on the back of her neck stand. Even as fear gripped her tightly, a flicker of something ignited within her. "And yet we're still here. We jumped into that chasm. We faced you head-on. Doesn't that mean something?" The serpent paused, its multitude of eyes narrowing. "Indeed, you've stumbled upon the first part of your truth. But your journey has only just begun." "What journey?" Emma exclaimed, her frustration bubbling up. The words hung heavy in the air, a tangible challenge. "In time, you will uncover the truth of your scar," it whispered, the tone shifting from menacing to almost seductive. "It is both a gift and a curse, connected to the very heart of existence. The mark will guide you, yet also bind you. You will confront those who don't wish to see the light, and those who ruled from shadows." Lucas pulled Emma back before she could respond, his eyes scanning the dark edges of their refuge, as if expecting something or someone to spring out from behind the swirling shadows. "We need to get out of here," he murmured urgently. But before they could retreat, a deep rumble echoed through the chamber, shaking the very ground beneath them. The walls began to tremble, the serpentine carving seeming to ripple as if alive. Dust cascaded down like rain, and with it came a sharp, new fear that twisted in Emma's gut. "What is happening?" she gasped, trying to focus on the altar, the only pinpoint of stability amidst the chaos. "Time is not your ally here," hissed the serpent, its voice low and functional now, as though it thrived on their confusion. The very chasm you fear may not be the end but merely the beginning. Will you embrace the legacy that calls to you? Emma felt as if the ground was collapsing around them. What legacy? The serpent's laughter faded into a low hiss. You will find out soon enough. Or perhaps you will perish in this darkness. Suddenly, the altar began to glow fiercely, casting long shadows across the chamber. Emma shielded her eyes, heart pounding in her chest. The sudden light illuminated inscriptions that pulsed rhythmically, words taking shape in her mind, symbols of power, connection, and fear. Emma. Lucas grabbed her arm, breaking her concentration. We need to make a choice: continue or abandon your past. As the light pulsed again, memories began to flood into her mind, images of moments long forgotten, her childhood, her family, her scar. Each moment pressing against her, pulling her in two directions at once. The room trembled again, more violently this time, as if whatever watched wanted them to decide and fast. Embrace your fate, or let it swallow you whole, the serpent hissed again, practically vibrating with malicious anticipation. Emma stood frozen, heart racing, mind rooted somewhere between belief and despair. The choice lay heavy on her shoulders, an unseen rock anchoring her in place. Would they dive deeper into the secrets that lay ahead, or risk it all to flee back into the world they knew? The shadows quivered, the light pulsed, and time seemed to stretch like a taut wire, ready to snap. Then a sudden voice sliced through the tension. Emma. Lucas. We've come for you. The echo of familiar tones sent a shock through them both. Had they been followed? Who was here to save them when salvation felt so distant? With adrenaline pumping in their veins and uncertainty flaring, Emma and Lucas exchanged a knowing glance. The darkness pressed in closer. Would they be pulled into that new light, leaving the serpent behind? Or would the legacy of shadows drag them back into the abyss once again? Find us. Emma screamed into the chaos, hoping it would spark a way out, unaware of what waited just beyond the veil of shadows. The air crackled with tension as Emma and Lucas stood at the precipice of the unknown. The sudden shout hung in the air like a lifeline tossed into turbulent waters. They turned simultaneously, instinctively seeking the voice that had called them back from the edge of despair. Emma. Lucas. The voice was clearer now, a glimmer of hope weaving through the chaos. Yet, no figure emerged, just shadows swirling ominously, filling the chamber with dread. We're coming. Who is it? Emma asked breathlessly, her heart pounding like a war drum. The warmth of familiarity did little to dispel the cold grip of fear surrounding them. It doesn't matter. Lucas snapped, his gaze fixed intently on the pulsating altar. We can't wait. We need to act now. But the serpent interjected smoothly, its voice like silk over stone. Ah, fated children, do you feel it? The desperation? The weight of decisions laden on your shoulders? It slithered closer, the cold sheen of its scales reflecting the light. You can choose to embrace the chaos of truth or hide within the comforting shadows of ignorance. With every heartbeat, the room seemed to tighten, the shadows creeping closer as if alive and breathing. Emma felt the pressure around her chest, each breath sucking away the courage she clung to. The glow of the altar sparked something deep within her. It was a haunting connection to the past, something she had long buried but refused to let it define her. Fine. She shouted, her voice rising above the tension. We accept whatever the truth is, we'll face it. The serpent's eyes gleamed with a chilling excitement. Very well. Then witness the unveiling. Suddenly, the symbols on the altar erupted into a brilliant light, illuminating the chamber with an eerie glow. Images tore through Emma's mind, visions of a world at war, of people lost to shadows, of a scar she bore like a badge. Memories of her childhood pushed forward. The moments she had wished away, now roaring back like a tidal wave. Emma. Lucas's voice shattered her reverie. Hold on. Don't get lost. Before she could respond, the ground lurched violently beneath them, sending tremors crawling up her legs. The walls began to shift, revealing twisted passages that opened like trapped secrets. "This place, it's alive," she gasped, clutching Lucas's arm. "Then we should move." Lucas pulled her toward the light, but just as they began to retreat, the serpent blocked their path, its form swelling ominously. "You sought the truth, yet truth bears its own price. Beyond this threshold lies not just your destiny but the very fabric of existence. Will you pay?" Emma felt a suffocating dread seep in, as though the walls were closing in with every word spoken. "What price?" she asked, her voice trembling. The serpent's laughter was richer now, echoed from all corners of the chamber. "You shall witness the lengths to which one must go to change the world and the darkness that binds." Suddenly, the light dimmed, filling the air with shadows that danced like specters. Emma squeezed Lucas's hand, frustrated and frightened. "We can't just stand here. We have to trust them," Lucas whispered, his eyes searching hers. Just then, a figure burst through the shadows, emerging from the darkness with a determined stride. "I'll explain everything. Come with me." Emma's heart raced, relief and anxiety mingling in a heady cocktail. Was this the help they needed? Or yet another trap laid by the serpent? She looked at Lucas, both of them caught in a web of uncertainty as the ground trembled once more. "Emma, Lucas now." The figure urged, waving them forward. They rushed toward the new light just as the serpent lunged, its mouth gaping wider than before. A primal fear coursed through Emma. She could feel its cold breath against her skin, the weight of its gaze threatening to consume them. In a split-second decision, Emma yelled, "We're coming." As they dove toward the light, the shadows clawing at their heels. The brilliance enveloped them, an explosion that sent them spiraling into an unknown abyss. As they plunged into the light, an echo of the serpent's voice lingered in the air, "Your fate is sealed and so is the world's." What awaited them on the other side? Could they escape the inevitable consequences of their choice? As the light faded, darkness wrapped around them once more, and they were consumed by silence, each heartbeat drumming a rhythm of fear and uncertainty. Emerging from the void, they gasped for breath, finding themselves in a place that felt shockingly familiar yet profoundly altered. What awaited them in this new realm? Would the secrets hidden here lead them to freedom, or collapse them into despair? Emma's heart raced anew as the shadows whispered once again, promising revelations that could shatter everything. The moment they landed, the air felt different, thicker, charged with an electric tension. Emma blinked against the sharp brightness, catching her breath, her senses reeling. The soft earth beneath her feet felt real, yet somehow unreal. She and Lucas had crossed into another realm, but where were they? Lucas released her hand, eyes darting around in frantic search of danger. Dark trees with gnarled branches loomed overhead, casting menacing shadows that crept toward them like hungry beasts. "What is this place?" he gasped. "Somewhere we shouldn't be," Emma replied, her own voice trembling. She felt the palpable weight of history here, stories woven into the very fabric of this land. Then, a low growl echoed from the shadows, cutting through the tense silence like a knife. They both froze, hearts pounding in synchrony. The foliage rustled, and from it stepped a figure cloaked in tattered robes, their face obscured by a hood. "Come forth, travelers," the figure beckoned, their voice gravelly but carrying an unsettling calm. "You have breached the boundaries of what should have remained hidden." A chill crept up Emma's spine. "Who are you?" "The keeper of truth," the figure replied, taking a step forward. The faint light illuminated their face, a shocking paleness that dripped with an ancient wisdom. "You sought the truth, yet remain blind to the chaos it brings. Are you prepared to face it?" Before Emma could respond, Lucas stepped in front of her, protective and fierce. "We didn't come here to play games. We need answers about the serpent and why it led us here." The keeper chuckled softly, a sound like dry leaves cracking underfoot. "Ah, the serpent, the enigma. It is not as simple as you think. The truth you seek is a double-edged sword, one that could very well slice through the thin veil between hope and despair. "What does that mean?" Emma asked, her voice a fragile whisper. The keeper lifted a hand, unveiling a glowing orb that pulsed with a rhythm, much like a heartbeat. "This," they said, gesturing to the orb, "contains the memories of your ancestors, the burdens they bore and the truths they buried. If the veil is lifted, you'll see everything." Emma's heart raced as she reached toward the orb, but Lucas grabbed her wrist, pulling her back. "Wait. What if it's a trap?" "It's a risk we have to take, Lucas," Emma insisted, determination igniting within her. "We can't keep running from what we don't understand." The keeper nodded approvingly, but with a glimmer in their eye that hinted at deeper mysteries. "Very well, brave souls. Touch the orb, and witness what was meant to remain forgotten." With a trembling hand, Emma reached for the pulsating orb, her heart pounding in time with its rhythm. As her fingers made contact, a surge of energy coursed through her, pulling her into a whirlpool of images, visions of sorrow and betrayal, moments of greatness and folly intertwined. But amid the chaos, one image anchored her, a young girl with familiar features, tears streaming down her face as she stumbled through the very forest they stood in now. The girl was a reflection of Emma herself, lost and trapped in a web far beyond her control. "Emma! Focus!" Lucas shouted, shaking her. The shadows threatened to devour them both as the ground trembled again. The keeper's face twisted, lost in an expression both sorrowful and knowing. "I must warn you," they murmured, almost too softly to hear. "Once the truth is revealed, there's no turning back." Suddenly, the ground split open beneath them, a rift that radiated with a terrible light. Emma's vision blurred with panic as she felt herself being pulled toward the abyss. "Lucas!" she screamed, reaching for him as their fingers slipped apart. He fought against the pull, desperation etched into his features. With a final cry, the darkness swallowed him whole, leaving Emma trembling on the edge of the rift, gasping for breath. "Prepare yourself," the keeper said gently. "For you alone hold the key to save him and perhaps, the world." As the shadows closed in around her once more, Emma felt the weight of her destiny pressing down like a storm. What truths awaited her? Would she be strong enough to face them? She took a deep breath, knowing one thing was clear: the world was about to change, but would she be the catalyst for rebirth or destruction? Reality warped around Emma as she teetered on the brink of despair. The pull of the rift felt like a living thing, tugging at her very essence, dragging her toward an uncertain fate. The keeper's words echoed in her mind: once she crossed that line, there would be no turning back. In that panicked moment, she thought of Lucas's fierce determination, his laughter that always lifted her spirits. A surge of adrenaline shot through her. She couldn't leave him behind. Not now. Pushing herself away from the edge, Emma turned to face the keeper, who watched her with an unsettling calm. "Where is he? What do I need to do?" The keeper raised an eyebrow, their voice steady yet stern. "The truth lies deep within. Deeper than the shadows that consume your mind. It is entwined with the very roots of this realm." The very air shimmered with energy as the keeper waved their hand. The ground beneath Emma splintered, revealing a heartbeat of pulsing light. It wasn't just an orb, it was a gateway. "Step forward," the keeper urged, gesturing to the gaping rift below her. "Only when you confront your deepest fears can you reach him." Emma hesitated, her heart racing in her chest. "What if I lose myself? What if I become one of those lost souls?" "Then you will face eternity without him," the keeper replied gravely. "Or you will rise stronger than before. The choice is yours." Her breath caught in her throat. The shadows whispered around her, promising both power and madness if she yielded. But she closed her eyes, envisioning Lucas, and the way he always believed in her, even when she didn't believe in herself. With a deep, shuddering breath, she stepped toward the rift. The instant her foot crossed the threshold, everything changed. The world around her twisted and reshaped, colors bleeding into one another. Chilling screams sliced through the air, a symphony of anguish that pricked her skin like needles. She clutched her head, memories battering her senses like waves against a rocky shore. Images flooded her mind. She saw faces, figures from her past that she thought she'd long forgotten, her mother at the kitchen table, her grandfather standing tall under a summer sky, pleading expressions in their eyes. "Do not forget who you are," they cried, their voices merging into a deafening roar. "No. I won't forget," Emma shouted, fighting against the tide of despair that threatened to drown her. But somewhere amidst the tumult, she felt something, a thread. A connection to Lucas. As she grasped onto that thread, the noise faded, and clarity emerged. She saw Lucas again, trapped and desperate, his eyes wide with fear, calling her name. She lunged toward him, reaching for his outstretched hand. "Emma!" he pleaded, his voice a lifeline in the storm. "We'll find a way out of this." She screamed back, but the rift grew wider, deeper, looming like a chasm threatening to consume them both. The keeper's voice wrapped around them, both a challenge and a warning. "To save him, you must first accept the truth of your own heart. The darkness you fear may be the very light you need." Emma's heart thundered. What darkness? Would she have to confront who she truly was? Determination ignited within her. "I will face it," she cried. She felt the rift tremble as she committed to this course. Suddenly, echoes of her ancestors flared to life around her, filling the void with warmth and resolve. They sought the truth too. They had hidden pieces of themselves in the shadows. They were fractured, but they had survived against all odds. Together, Emma shouted, calling out to Lucas, to the spirits around her. "Let us do this together." As their hands connected, a warm light radiated from their clasped fingers, pushing back the shadows. But just as hope surged in her chest, a creeping doubt clawed at her resolve. What if the truth was worse than anything she could imagine? As the fabric of reality twisted and the light dimmed around them, Emma gritted her teeth. She wouldn't waver. "Lucas!" She called out just as the light pulsed one final time, blinding her. The world went dark, and fear gripped her heart. What awaited them on the other side? As her consciousness slipped into oblivion, the last thing she heard was the keeper's voice, a haunting whisper in the chaos. "Prepare for what lies ahead, because the truth, once known, can never be unknown." The darkness wrapped around her, and in that moment, all she could think was she ready to unearth what had been hidden for so long? Would this moment define her and Lucas forever? Emma felt herself falling. Not the graceful drift of a dream, but a plunge into an unseen abyss. Panic clawed at her throat as dark tendrils of doubt wound tighter around her heart. What awaited in this pitch-black void? Then, suddenly, she was no longer falling. A sharp wind whipped around her, snapping the darkness like a frayed thread. Emma gasped as she was thrust into a blinding light, illuminating a surreal landscape that stretched before her. It was a place caught between reality and the unknown, lush forests with trees that twisted into grotesque shapes, shadows shifting and swirling as if alive. "Emma!" Lucas's voice pierced the fog. She turned, searching frantically, her heart racing. She spotted him standing a distance away, his figure silhouetted against a shimmering portal that flickered with vibrant colors, an oasis in this strange land. "Hold on!" she shouted, sprinting toward him. Each step echoed thunderously, the ground resonating beneath her feet. Her heart ached for him, dragging her forward like an unbreakable tether, but as her fingers grazed the edge of the light, a wall of darkness surged, pushing her back. A cold dread swept through her. "No!" she cried, anger fueling her fight. "I won't let anything keep us apart." Emma felt the ground tremble beneath her as obscured figures emerged from the shadows, the very fears she had tried to escape. Her mother's disappointed gaze stared back at her, her grandfather's stern face clouded with sorrow. Their voices melded into a haunting symphony. "You are not enough, you will always fail, you will lose him, stop!" Emma shouted, clenching her fists. They were the echoes of her past, but she would not be defined by their whispers. She would face the truth, no matter how dark. With a surge of courage, she willed the memories aside, focusing on Lucas. His eyes shone with unshed tears, flickering with hope. "Emma, remember who you are." His voice wrapped around her like a lifeline. She felt the warmth of their bond growing stronger. "I am more than my fears. I am not alone." As she stood tall, the shadows recoiled as if burned by her assertion. The landscape shifted, color bleeding from the darkness, revealing a path lined with radiant flowers, their vibrant colors a testament to the light she was reclaiming. "Emma, keep going," Lucas urged, extending his hand as light enveloped him, drawing her closer. "Together, we'll break through." Hope surged like wildfire, igniting her spirit. But something flickered in the back of her mind. What if the truth she had to face was more painful than she anticipated? What if the darkness hid something so monumental that it could shatter the very core of who she was? Yet, she couldn't let fear dominate her. "For us," she whispered fiercely. The shadows shrieked, the remnants of self-doubt unraveling like mist in the morning sun. With a leap powered by sheer will, she lunged toward Lucas, their hands finally intertwining. The moment their fingers locked, warmth spread through her, an electric pulse of pure energy that cascaded through both of them. The rift shuddered violently, the darkness swirling before them, threatening to consume everything. They were on the edge of something monumental. Emma felt the very fabric of reality rippling around her, held together by the strength of their connection. Just then, a chilling voice rose from the abyss. "You think you can escape the truth?" It was the Keeper, their presence looming like an ominous shadow. "Truth has a cost and a consequence." Emma's heart raced. She had come too far to falter now. "Bring it on!" she shouted defiantly, a fire igniting within her as she tightened her grip on Lucas. The light intensified, resonating in a vibrato that pulsated through her very soul. What truths awaited them in the heart of this strange world? What sacrifices would they need to make to truly break free? As everything around them exploded with light, Emma and Lucas braced themselves for the unknown, unyielding in their newfound strength. Would the truth empower them, or tear them apart? The darkness snarled, ready to reveal long-buried secrets, and Emma realized, the moment of reckoning was upon them. The world around Emma and Lucas exploded in a maelstrom of colors, their bodies tingling with the electric surge of light that enveloped them. They stood together at the threshold of destiny, hearts pounding in unison, knowing that the moment of truth awaited them just beyond this brilliant veil. "Stay close," Emma urged, gripping Lucas's hand with fierce determination. The shadows still clawed at the edges of their reality, as if reluctant to lose their grip on the pair. The light flickered ominously, a reminder that they were in a liminal space, suspended between hope and despair. "Are you ready?" Lucas asked, his voice steady, yet laced with an underlying tremor. There was no turning back now, every step had led them here, to the brink of revelation. They shared a glance, a breath, a resolve that tethered them together against whatever might lie ahead. With a deep breath, they stepped into the light. It washed over them, inundating their senses with warmth and brightness that felt like a cleansing tide. The moment they crossed the threshold, the cacophony of voices faded, replaced by a profound silence that hummed like static in their ears. Emma opened her eyes to find herself standing in a vast, endless landscape. The colors around her were vivid and surreal, a blend of emerald greens and sapphire blues that formed rolling hills and softly gleaming lakes. In the distance, a grand tree stood, its gnarled branches twisted like tales of old, seemingly beckoning them forward. "What is this place?" Lucas whispered in awe, looking around as if he were stepping into a painting. "It feels like a memory," Emma breathed, the familiarity washing over her with the pang of nostalgia. But beneath the beauty lurked the tension of uncertainty. They both knew that this wasn't just a pretty facade, it was a representation of the truths they had long sought. Before either of them could move, a figure emerged from the shimmering glade, the Keeper. Their silhouette was haunting, a blend of shadow and light. "Welcome," they spoke, their voice echoing as if the landscape itself amplified their presence. "You've come to face the truth." "What truth?" Lucas shot back. Emma could feel the heat rising in her chest. They weren't here to play games. The truth of yourselves, the keeper replied, their voice resonating deeply. The road has led you to this reckoning. Will you face what you fear most? What do you mean? Emma asked, though a sudden darkness churned in her stomach. You search for the serpent's truth, the keeper continued, eyes glinting with arcane knowledge. But perhaps you must first uncover your own. With a wave of their hand, the air shimmered again, and images began to swirl around them. Scenes from Emma's life unfurled like rippling water, moments of joy, heartbreak, and choice flooded her senses. She saw herself, a little girl, stumbling across deep grass, laughter echoing in her ears, followed by glimpses of paralyzing fear, the emptiness of loss, the weight of expectations, her insecurities looming large. Those moments shaped you, the keeper stated as Emma watched herself shrink back from challenges. But you possessed the strength to grow from them. No. Emma cried out as images morphed into her darkest fears. I refuse to be defined by my past. The shadows tried to creep in, but she held on to Lucas tighter, the assurance of his presence a bolt of lightning against the darkness. You've confronted the serpent's curse, the keeper continued. Now embrace your own scar, for it is not just a mark of pain, but of strength. Embrace the truth of who you are. With determination surging anew, Emma reached deep within, acknowledging the pain but also the resilience the past had gifted her. I will not hide, I will not falter. I am more than my failures. As she spoke, a bright light surrounded her, illuminating the forest in vibrant colors, each hue representing her perseverance, her growth, and every fight she defaced. Together, we'll break these chains. Lucas shouted, his voice igniting a new fire within them both, their hands intertwined, they forged forward. Casting their fears into the light, embracing their scars, allowing the vibrant energy of their shared strength to shatter the darkness once and for all. The shadows writhed, screaming, losing their grip as they began to dissolve around them, retreating into the nothingness from which they had come. With every heartbeat, the light intensified, transcending the space, pushing against the boundaries of their reality, tearing down the barriers that confined them in fear. And now, we face you. Emma shouted, her heart full of courage, her voice a war cry against the malevolent force of the serpent that had haunted them. As the remnants of the dark shadows coiled to form the serpent once more, fully manifesting before them, Emma and Lucas stood united. Your time is up, Lucas declared steadfastly. The serpent, its eyes aflame with fury, hissed, You dare challenge me? We dare, Emma replied, her voice unwavering. You will not control our fate. With a surge of energy, they unleashed the full power of the light they had embraced, a radiant explosion that spiraled forth, engulfing the serpent in its brilliance. Its dark form writhed and twisted, shrieking in anger, but the light was relentless, pressing inward until all that echoed through the realm was silence, and then nothing. The serene landscape lay untouched, bathed in the warmth of a new dawning light. The air felt lighter, crisper, charged with the promise of rebirth. Emma and Lucas stood in the stillness, pulse racing from the confrontation. They exchanged glances, a whirlwind of emotions dancing between them, relief, joy, love, and triumph. We did it, Lucas murmured, disbelief etched into his features. Together, Emma said softly, a smile breaking across her face. She realized that together, they had turned the tide of their fate. But just then, the keeper re-emerged, their countenance wise and knowing. You've embraced the truth, they said, their voice echoing with finality. But understand this, the world is a tapestry of light and darkness. You are now the balance. What do you mean? Lucas asked cautiously. Your scars will serve as reminders of your journey. And while you may still face nightmares, you have the strength to stand against them together. A ripple of understanding passed between them. This was just the beginning. They had shattered the serpent's curse, but the world outside beckoned, full of challenges and unknown paths. Are you prepared to step forward? The keeper asked, turning to lead the way from this realm of truth. Emma took a deep breath. Her heart was full of hope and promise. Yes, she said, voice strong with conviction. Let us go. And hand in hand, they stepped beyond the brink, ready to embrace the reality that awaited them. Their journey had forged a bond that would transcend the shadows and illuminate their path forward, but as they journeyed onward, a haunting whisper echoed behind them, lingering in the air like a dying ember. The truth, once discovered, binds you forever. Emma turned back, the keeper's form fading into the light, the shadows retreating, but the implications of their victory remained clear. Every moment mattered. Every choice, a shadow or a light, with the sun rising before them. Emma and Lucas continued onward, united in purpose, ready to find their way through the world anew. As the horizon sparkled with possibility, they took their first steps into a future unwritten, a story they would write together, forever changed. Now that you've reached the end of this gripping journey, it's time to take action. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now. Your support fuels the algorithm and keeps us going. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Share this whole epic journey with at least 5 friends who need to experience this conclusion with your insights. Don't wait even one more second to share. Your voice matters in this community. Let's keep the flame of this story alive together.